The International Nutrition Research Center, INRC, a leading research institution in the field of human nutrition, is pleased to present a scientific breakthrough, the discovery of the master amino acids pattern. On the 21st of April, 1998, at the Royal Academy of Medicine of Spain, Professor Luca Moretti, president of INRC, gave a lecture to inform the results of his clinical double-blind, triple crossover nitrogen balance study. The study's results confirmed the discovery of the master amino acids pattern, which is considered to be one of the most important scientific breakthroughs in the nutritional field of this century. This study has been recently published in the Annals of the Royal Academy of Spain. What follows is the interview with Professor Luca Moretti, which took place after his lecture at the Royal Academy of Medicine of Spain.
Professor Luca Moretti, we want to thank you for accepting this interview concerning the remarkable discovery of the master amino acids pattern and its applications in the field of nutrition.
It is my pleasure.
Professor, what exactly made the discovery of the master amino acids pattern possible?
The discovery of the master amino acid pattern, or MAP, has been the successful result of 23 years of research in the field of nutrition.
Well then, what is the significance of MAP?
MAP provides to the medical community a truly unique and extremely effective instrument for healthier and unprecedented successful dietary management, especially for those individuals who are unable to reach their required body's protein synthesis due either to insufficient protein intake or absorption.
Is MAP made of natural or synthetic components?
MAP is 100% natural. It is composed of a unique pattern of essential amino acids in a highly purified, free and crystalline form.
Well, taking into consideration that essential amino acids have been known to the medical community for decades, what is the core of MAP?
Good question. The core of MAP is its amino acid pattern. MAP's components, proportion, homogeneity and extremely high purity enable it to provide unprecedented nutritional effectiveness. In recognition of its truly unique characteristics, MAP has been granted many patents in the United States, Europe, and other countries.
Does this mean that by modifying an amino acid pattern, we can change its characteristics?
Of course. For instance, a bird, a snake, a tree, an elephant, or a human being are composed of amino acids. However, each one of them is different due to its own amino acid pattern. Therefore, a minimal change in an amino acid pattern can indeed make a considerable difference.
Well then, could you describe MAP characteristics in more detail?
Of course. There are 6 major characteristics that I will briefly describe. MAP's first exclusive characteristic is that its unique amino acid pattern is capable of providing an unprecedented 99% net nitrogen utilization, or NNU. This means that 99% of its constituent amino acids act as precursors, namely as building blocks of the body's protein synthesis. This is by far the highest NNU ever provided by any known dietary protein. For instance, hen egg protein, considered so far the highest in biological value, only provides a 48% NNU, which is still 51% less than that provided by MAP.
You just mentioned that MAP provides a 99% net nitrogen utilization, or NNU. Could you explain what NNU means?
Certainly. A protein N and U represent its nutritional value, namely the percentage of its constituent amino acid that act as precursors of the body's protein synthesis.
Could you explain how this complex process takes place?
Certainly. For instance, when a dietary protein is digested, it releases its constituent amino acid into the small intestine, where they are absorbed. Then those amino acids can follow either the anabolic pathway or the catabolic pathway. When dietary amino acids follow the anabolic pathway, they act as precursors for the body's protein synthesis, namely as building blocks, thus becoming the body's constituent proteins. Throughout the anabolic pathway, amino acids do not release any nitrogen catabolites or energy. On the other hand, when dietary amino acids follow the catabolic pathway, they act only as a source of energy and not as building blocks. Throughout the catabolic pathway, amino acids do release unwanted nitrogen catabolites.
Does this mean that due to its 99% NNU, MAP provides the highest nutritional value?
Exactly. Due to its 99% NNU, MAP provides in only 10 grams a body's protein synthesis, equivalent to that of about 350 grams of fish, poultry, or meat.
So by taking MAP, a person who needs to reach their protein requirement could avoid drinking currently available bulky and nasty-tasting beverages?
You're right. By comparison, 1 or 2 tablets of MAP can provide the same body's protein synthesis of that supplied by 8 liquid ounces of any current dietary supplement. Now, most dietary supplements use as a source of protein casein or soybean, which have about a 17% NNU. As a result, only 17% of its constituent amino acid can act as precursor of the body protein synthesis. Meanwhile, the remaining 83% only act as a source of calorie, releasing in addition a huge amount of unwanted nitrogen catabolites.
May I ask, what is the next MAP characteristic?
MAP's second exclusive characteristic is that it releases only 1% of nitrogen catabolites, the lowest ever released by any known dietary protein. By comparison, hen egg protein releases 52% of nitrogen catabolites, formerly the lowest among any dietary protein.
Are nitrogen catabolites considered a sort of metabolic toxic waste?
Yes, they are. For this reason, the use of MAP is recommended in the dietary management of patients with renal or hepatic failure, who must avoid nitrogen catabolites. For the first time, by using MAP, these patients can achieve their protein requirement, thus avoiding the negative effects of protein deficiency. And they can avoid or reduce negative effects of high levels of nitrogen compounds in the blood.
And what is the third characteristic?
The next exclusive characteristic of MAP is that it releases in 10 grams less than half a calorie, providing at the same time the body's protein synthesis equivalent to that of about 350 grams of meat, fish, or poultry.
So, would it be fair to say that MAP can provide an entire daily protein requirement with less than 1 calorie?
Of course, yes. This characteristic of MAP will improve the treatment of overweight patients extraordinarily. For instance, until now, the treatment of overweight patients has been limited to the reduction of calorie intake by reducing appetite, by reducing absorption of nutrients, and by reducing ingestion of food. All these procedures have a common life-threatening shortcoming. They cause deprivation of essential nutrients. Why? Because by reducing calories, they also cut down those nutrients necessary for the healthy and productive life.
And with the use of MAP, what is the difference in the treatment of overweight patients?
The International Nutrition Research Center has designed for the medical community an advanced treatment which includes the use of MAP. This treatment can provide all the required essential nutrients with basically no calories.
How is this new treatment going to be implemented?
Currently, INRC offers an advanced overweight management training course. This course will enable physicians to achieve the healthiest and the most effective results ever obtained in the treatment of overweight patients.
Okay, thanks, Professor. Now, what is the next characteristic?
MAP fourth characteristic is that it is pre-digested and therefore absorbed in the small intestine in about 23 minutes. This is far less time than the 3 or 4 hours necessary to digest common dietary protein. MAP acts as a completely catabolized dietary protein. Thus, it can be absorbed without the aid of peptidases and with a minimal stimulation of intestinal secretions.
Does this indicate that any person who is not able to digest proteins could reach the daily protein requirement just by using MAP?
Exactly. For this reason, MAP is especially recommended in the dietary management of patients with gastrectomy or gastrointestinal disorders.
And what is the next MAP characteristic?
MAP's fifth characteristic is that it does not produce fecal residue. For this reason, MAP is recommended in the dietary management of pre-surgery and post-surgery patients and to those who undergo intractable diarrhea or impaired digestion or absorption secondary to intestinal disorders.
And the sixth MAP characteristic?
MAP's next characteristic is that it is amphoteric, which means it can act either as acid or a base in accordance with the surrounding pH.
Now, you've told us about the 6 major MAP characteristics. Is there anything else you can tell us about MAP?
To conclude, I can tell you that MAP is 100% fat-free, sodium-free, and sugar-free, which means that it can be safely used by patients with diabetes, high blood pressure, or high blood cholesterol.
Professor, my last question. Is there any contraindication or side effect in relation to the use of MAP?
Absolutely not. MAP is not a medicine, it is a dietary supplement. The use of MAP doesn't have any contraindication, and so far no side effects have ever been reported.
This means that MAP can be safely used by everyone?
Yes, MAP can be safely used by everyone who is not able to reach the daily protein requirement, regardless of age, gender, or health status. However, to assure the proper dosage and to achieve the best result, medical supervision is recommended.
Professor Luca Moretti, it has been very interesting to learn about the MAP discovery and its major applications in the field of human nutrition. We want to thank you again for accepting this interview.
It has been a pleasure, and I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to share this information with you and with the medical community. Thank you.